Welcome to Bet On It. I am Kelly Stewart, and tonight we are talking NFL Week 3. Let's bring in my two favorite guys. That's right, Joe Raineri and Marco D'Angelo. We're talking Thursday primetime, Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Cleveland is now a 4.5-point favorite, total 38. We all know I love those divisional road underdogs from those TNA segments from Ralph Michaels, Marco. But can your Pittsburgh Steelers keep it close on the road on Thursday night?
Well, Kelly, if you remember last week, I was all over those New York Jets against Cleveland, and the whole reason was the spot. It was just an absolute horrible spot for the Cleveland Browns. They were coming off the Baker Bowl in week 1 and had their hated rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers, up next, and not only up next, but on a Thursday night game. And Cleveland, I'll give them credit. They did have a 2-touchdown lead late, 13 points because they missed an extra point, but somehow it evaporated and the Jets got the win. I'm going to look at this one, and if Cleveland is not running the football against the Steelers, they haven't been watching game film. TJ Watt is out. The Steeler defense is not the same without him. And if you look at this Cleveland Brown team, week 1, they ran for 217 yards against Carolina. Week 2, they ran for 184 yards against the Jets. Now, the Steelers have given up 133 and 124 in the first 2 games. Not as much as the Browns have been rushing for, but in the first game against Cincinnati, the Bengals were throwing the football a lot, and they found themselves behind against the Steelers. But once TJ Watt left the game in that Cincinnati game, it was a totally different scenario for that Steeler defense. Speaking of Steelers, let's flip to the other side and talk about the offense. Mitch Trubisky is the quarterback. He has completed a high percentage of his passes. Unfortunately, they're not going downfield. They've been all of the dink and dunk variety. We saw a lot of that last year with Big Ben. And little bit of the chance at not Heinz Field anymore, a short stadium, there were some can he. Well, at least he won't have to listen to the crowd chanting for the backup, and maybe he can have a clean game, but he's also going to be playing in front of the cameras for Thursday Night Football, and there is pressure on Mitch Trubisky to deliver. I like the Browns in this spot. Steelers have always had problems with mobile quarterbacks. Jacoby Brissett can run when needed. And with that running game that they have, I think it's going to set up a couple big pass plays for Cleveland later on. Give me the Browns. I'm going to go ahead and lay the points. Yes, I'm going against my hometown team. I like the Browns to win this one 24-14.
Joe, Marco's laying it against his Steelers. I don't know. This one's a tough one, and I may just have to stay off. Those primetime unders just cashing at another great rate, and maybe that's what I'll be looking again come Thursday night, except this time I won't wait until right before kickoff like a complete and utter square.
Listen, it's first of all, I'm going to throw up a little even talking about this game. Like, how do you put this on a Thursday night in week 3?
Joe,
This is awful.
Joe,
awful.
We got Jacoby Brissett and Mitch Trubisky. Then on Sunday, at least now we get Jimmy Garoppolo, so there's some eye candy. Against Russell Wilson.
I got you.
And then
they're making up for it.
Another dumpster fire of quarterbacks. Like, I don't know whose idea this was, but it's just terrible.
Yeah, no, we've had two very, this last primetime Monday, we had two very competitive. So let's look here at Tomlin and what we've got. And what we have, guys, is a very clear situation of, and one of our, the sayings that we love the most here is, if it ain't broke, we ain't fixing it. And the numbers tell us Mike Tomlin rode under 70, 50, and 1. Stefanski with totals below 44, 6-2 to the under. Trubisky with totals below 43. He is 16-5 as a starter to the under. I could just keep going on, and primetime unders and so on and so forth. Not to mention, I understand it might be a little wet weather and some wind affecting what's going on at this game as well. And you guys heard me mention last week, Jacoby Brissett, most Most of the time, guys, he can't hit water if he fell out of a boat throwing the ball. Not exactly a prolific passer, shall we say. And Trubisky, great arm, just usually nobody's there to catch it, though, with where he's throwing it. Running games are going to be good. Defenses, I think, are going to be good. Coaching should allow this game to be very, very low scoring. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And all the numbers tell us that, yeah, Pittsburgh in this spot against Cleveland on a primetime situation. Give us the under, 38.5. I'm going under, Cal. And I ain't trying to fix this. And, even the first half under. I ain't trying to fix this. Give me under across the board, team totals, you name it. That's where I'm looking.
All right, Sunday prime time, the 49ers head to Denver. Denver opened a small favorite here, now a small dog of 1.5, total 45. Joe, I'm going to go right back to you here. Is there a more inept coach than Nathaniel Hackett?
Listen, if he makes it to the end of the year, I'm going to be absolutely shocked without a mutiny. But I will say this, Cal, and I think maybe, just maybe, the saving grace will be that maybe, just maybe, you overpaid for a quarterback on the down slope of his career and not the up slope.
They've done that. In all fairness,
I'm with you.
Manning is
I'm
at
with
least
you.
an offensive coordinator on the field and an awesome defense.
It's a great point. They don't have that. And at least Peyton, he knew where he was throwing to. The problem with Russell is he's been at his best.
He had to wear the glove, though. Remember how everybody made fun of him about wearing the glove?
Well, hey, listen, I still have my glove, okay? I wear it driving every day. But the reality is that Russell Wilson, when he was his most dangerous in his career, is when he was mobile, when he was a threat to run. He's a half a step slower, guys. There's a reason why he's got, 5 yards rushing already through this season? Not to mention still trying to get on the same page with his receivers. There are some issues in Denver, make no mistake about it. Not to mention they probably won't have, Judy there. There are some issues now in the secondary with some of those safeties back there. But I do think, Cal, you nailed it here. With Jimmy G, eye candy and all. And you guys saw the boost that this team got when he had to go in under center. Unfortunate situation for Trey Lance. But I think the way to look at this game, guys, not only San Francisco, but hey, I think Denver, they absolutely are going to score more points than what we have seen them score, which is why I'm looking at the over in this game. I think the overreaction where, stick a fork and hack it, they can't score, they're this, they're that, and what's good. No, I think there are going to be points scored in this game. I think there's an opportunity here for Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos to put up, hey, I'm going to be 20, 21 points, shall we say. The problem is, I think San Francisco is going to get more than that, which is going to put us way over the 45 that was listed here. It came down a little, but I think that, again, is an overreaction. I think Garoppolo and company, who, by the way, guys, the numbers, 31-14 when Garoppolo starts for the 49ers. 31-14, 69% against the number. He has been a cash cow with the 49ers. I do think they can score enough points, both of these teams in this game, to get me an over 45, Cal, which is exactly the way I'm going to play it.
Marco, Joe made some good points about Denver. I'm not even sure how Jimmy G lost that starting spot. I will say San Francisco is extremely lucky they didn't trade him away. A lot of San Francisco fans were texting me over the weekend, kind of saying, okay, maybe you're right about Jimmy. Maybe it shouldn't have been Trey Lance. That being said, Kyle Shanahan returns to Denver. I'm still sad that Vance Joseph got hired over him, but that's just neither here nor there. I'm leaning with Joe here. I could see, you would think, I'm just going to say this. This doesn't mean it's going to correlate to week 3. You would think all of those points that Denver has left off the board might start to accumulate here on primetime game at home. But again, I'm not holding my breath.
Well, Kelly, total disclosure here. This came very close to making the trap game because everybody is going to look at this game. They're going to look at the San Francisco 49ers. They're going to say -1.5, just pick the winner basically. And injured player theory. This is the only time that they're rejoicing because of the injury. They took this. Normally when there's an injury, you see the line move, 2.5 points. That's not uncommon, but not the way of the injured team. They're rejoicing because Jimmy G's in there. And as far as the step slow with Russell Wilson, okay, sorry, Joe. And I thought if anybody would understand this, because, you are our highest paid video guy, behind the controls and everything. When you've got a wallet as thick as he's carrying around, it slows you down just a tad.
It's a solid point. Yes.
So that's the problem with Russell Wilson. But he'll leave the wallet at home this week, and he'll be just fine. It's the third game in the system. He is going to get better and better as he gets used to the offense. And hopefully the coach gets a little better too on not just being totally brain dead when they need him to make decisions. The other part is, hey, Russell Wilson is very familiar with playing the 49ers. He played them twice a year, every year at Seattle. And he has had some great games against the 49ers. I think this is the classic. It's the ugly dog. Hold your nose. We've seen all these Monday night or Thursday night, Sunday night. We've seen some primetime home dogs play like dogs. And this one looks like the ugliest one to take. You know what that means. I'm going to be there. I'm on Denver to pull the upset here. Mild upset. I just can't justify basically a 3.5, 4-point move because Jimmy G is back in and we've downgraded Denver that much. Give me Denver Sunday night prime time. 27-24 is the number I have. So that would agree with Joe on his over as well.
God, I don't know if I have the stomach for it. It has been a hellacious NFL season with bad beats. I don't need to be making any bad bets, Marco. All jokes aside, I'm with you. Denver did make my long list as maybe a little bit of an overreaction. We'll see how that one plays out on Sunday night. We got a lot of home dogs this week, and we're going to get into them after this commercial break.
Gianni the Greek has never had a losing calendar year at WagerTalk and holds the following all-time records. Number 1 all-time in total profit and boxing. Number 2 all-time in college football, golf, soccer, and WNBA. Number 3 all-time in NFL, MMA, CFL, and tennis. Number 4 all-time in the MLB. And number 6 all-time in NHL. Right now, you can lock in 120 days of plays for the price of $90 for a limited time. Head over to WagerTalk, save yourself close to $400 off the regular price, and bet alongside Gianni for only $6.24 per day.
Welcome back to Bet On It. You know what that means. These are some really cool pins Ralph put together at the WagerTalk meet and greet. I'll make sure we get some more. Great ink, Ralph. I'm like kind of a weirdo when it comes to handicapping. Anyway, time for some TNA. Ralph Michaels at Cal Sports LV. Ralph, I know you have a pretty exciting promo for our viewers this week. You have not one, but 2 5% plays this weekend. Tell the people what they can expect when buying this package.
Thanks, Kel. Real quick about the pens. Is there anything worse than getting a promo pen and having one of those crappy pens that hardly writes and the ink doesn't come through? So yes, I absolutely made sure that they were very good writing pens. Thank you for mentioning that. WagerTalk, almost 5 years now for me. Only one other time have I had a 5% on Saturday and a 5% on the same weekend. I'm going to have it, and this is what I'm going to do for you to make sure you're on board. A 3-day all access is normally $59. It's the great way to go for football. With code RM20, you can get Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for just $39. That's the price of basically 1 5% play. And don't wait. Go there, sign up today. You can click what 3 days you want. And when I start releasing those plays later tonight, you will have immediate access to them. You don't need to wait to get those plays Saturday or Sunday. So sign up now, my homepage, go to a 3-day all access, use code RM20 and pay only $39 to get both 5%, all 3 days of college football, all 3 days of NFL. My way of saying thank you for watching Bet On It and my TNA segment. And let's just jump right into it. Over in the college football segment, we talked about teams that lost as a favorite in back-to-back games and are now a favorite again. So I brought that same thought over to the NFL. And when a team, first scenario, is just losing as a favorite and now they're an away favorite. So you're off one loss as a favorite. You are now on the road as a favorite. Those teams have gone 67-42. That is a nice 61.5 ATS trend. Those teams also have gone 46-67 over under. That is 59.3% to the under. So when you're in that situation off a loss and now you're on the road as the better team, like Cincinnati, Las Vegas, and Baltimore, they've covered 61.5% of the time, and they've gone under the total 59.3%. One subset of that exact same angle, I'm going back all the way since 2015. Teams that lose back-to-back games as a favorite, and now they're an away favorite of 4 or more. You lose outright as a favorite. You lose outright as a favorite again. You're on the road, but you're a favorite of over 4, like Cincinnati is against the New York Jets. Only 13 times since 2015, but they have gone 11-2, 85% against the spread. Week 3 in the NFL coming up. What happens when a pair of 0-2 teams meet and the line is single digits? So someone's not a huge favorite. You have 2 0-2 teams like Las Vegas and Tennessee. The over-under, this is going to go opposite again, the other game. When you have 2 0-2 teams and the line is single digits, it's actually gone 22-9-1 over-under, 71%. So the previous one, when you lost as a favorite, said to go under the total. This one for the Las Vegas-Tennessee game says over the total. So you obviously want to knock those two off. But again, I'm not trying to give you fewer plays here. I want you to look at scenarios and help you learn.
Ralph, I just wanted to touch.
I met Ronald Cabang at the Vegas meet and greet twice, and he's a great guy. He does a lot of work on the SDQL, and he's over at Sports Memo. His Twitter handle is @U_Capper. He came up with one for me, and I want to share it with you here. Early in the NFL season, weeks 2 through 5, if you lost as a favorite and you scored over 28 points, and now you're at home, like the Pittsburgh Steelers are Thursday, those teams have gone 1-16 against the spread and 0-10 ATS since 2015. So early in the year, up until week 5, you're off a loss as a favorite. You scored 28 or more points, and now you're at home. Excuse me, you were at home. You're 1-16 since 2012, 0-10 since 2015.
Ronald, excellent guy. I got to meet him at the meet and greet in March. Very smart guy, especially with NBA. I didn't know that he was into the query system. I love that I can text Ralph at any time, by the way. You guys should head over to his Twitter page, @CalSportsLV. He finds all sorts of great information, and that's why we have this segment, Trends and Angles. Ralph, you said you have 6 in total, so I know you have 3 more for me for NFL Week 3.
Here's an interesting one. If you have no wins and you're off a loss as a home favorite, and now you're on the road. So this could be any time of the season. Obviously, it's going to happen more early in the season because if you don't have any wins, you're probably not a home favorite very often. But since 2013, teams with 0 wins on the season, off a home loss as a favorite, and now you're on the road, like Las Vegas is. Those teams have gone 34-12. That is 73.9%. A very nice system to be at 74%. We talked about this several times over the last couple of years here on this segment. Early in the season, when you have an away favorite of 3.5 or more. So obviously one team is much better than the other team to be a road favorite of that price. If you basically just look at those teams, the under has hit 63.2% of the time. There's over 100 games of sample size, 39, 67, and 4 is the record. There are 5 teams this week that are actually away favorites of 3.5 or more. They are KC, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Philly, and the Rams. So keep the under in your thought process when you're handicapping those games. And the 6th one I have isn't really a wow, but I found it very interesting and wanted to share. When you have a team that blew a 14-point lead at the half or had a 14-point deficit or higher, and then won the game. Marco helped me look this one up while I was getting ready to prep the show. They're both pretty much 50-50. So you can't take anything into that. If you had a huge comeback and you won the game, you're about 50%. If you blew a 14-point lead, you're about 50%. But I took one subset, which I thought was interesting as well. Only 13 times since 1999 has a team been trailing by 17 or more points into the fourth quarter and won the game like Miami did. They have gone 10-3 ATS. So a big comeback doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to have a flat spot the next week. 10-3 ATS situation for Miami, having been down by 17 or more points going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think there was a little, what's the right word? I don't think Marco was being malicious there. I think he was trying to find me some data to back up my recent Slack beef with our good friend Prez. We'll address that on Friday on Wager Talk today, though. That being said, thank you to Ralph at CaliSportsLV. Make sure you guys head over to WagerTalk.com. Use his coupon code RM20 to get $20 off his 3-day all-access pass that includes 2 5% best bets for this weekend. We're going to kick it back over to Marco and Joe for this week's teaser segment.
You're a winner at Wager Talk even before the game is played with our Wager Rewards program. How does it work? Simple. Earn wager rewards on every purchase made at Wager Talk and Sports Memo. Those wager rewards can be converted into wager bucks on the first of every month. There is no additional fee to participate, and no additional details are required outside your valid Wager Talk or Sports Memo membership. On the first of each month, 5% of your wager rewards will be converted to wager bucks, which are available to purchase on all future purchases. Doesn't it feel good to be part of a rewards program with no additional hoops?
Marco, thank you for that picture you just texted me of Ralph. He got out of the TNA segment so fast he's already in your hot tub. I could have gone without that one. And speaking of things I could go without, these teasers have been absolutely brutal. I can't even begin to I'm just going to woo-saw it out. Marco, who is your teaser for week 3 in NFL?
Oh.
Yeah, Kelly, some of those traditional teasers have not fared well so far, and the books have been happy about that. But you know what? We know what the numbers are long-term, and we're going to continue to do it. Let's start with the first half. I'm going with the LA Chargers. They're at home. They're laying the touchdown. I'm going to take the 6 points and bring them down to -1. Why? That means I just have to win this game against Jacksonville. Is Jacksonville improved? Yes, they are. Are they improved enough to go on the road and win in LA cross country? No. And at this point in time, you've got Herbert versus Trevor Lawrence. Still a big edge in experience. I'll go with the Chargers for the first half, just having to win. Second leg of it, this is the one that's really been hurting us on these teasers. It's the Stanford Wong perfect teasers where you're going through the touchdown and you're in a game that has a very low total. Well, we've got the Cowboys and the Giants on Monday Night Football. I'm sorry. There is not any world that I live in that I will ever pass up getting over a touchdown when Daniel Jones is the team, the quarterback, and they are favored. I just cannot see them getting separation. I don't care who's at quarterback for Dallas, how many people are hurt. I do not trust the New York Football Giants to score enough points to get over the 8.5 that we're seeing here, teasing the 2.5 up. That's an automatic play. I know it's going to be an automatic play for you too, Kelly. And low total of 39. You just have to keep doing it and trust the process.
You are correct. That is going to be a teaser leg of mine, but I'm going to use the Green Bay Packers as a different teaser leg there, Marco. I just need the Chargers to win. And if the game lands 1, I'm okay with it. They are my Survivor pick this week. I know we got rid of that segment, but somehow I'm still alive in Survivor with our good friend Johnny Detroit. Joe, I don't know if teasers have been better for you because I stopped keeping track at how bad they've been for me. So I'd love to hear who we should be looking at for this week.
Listen, my teasers have been fantastic. Half of my teasers have been fantastic. Let me reset. Half have been outstanding. When I tell you, 100%, 50% of the time, it works, right? 60% of the time, it works every time. Here's what...
Like the commies against the Lions getting over a touchdown. You think that Carson Wentz can keep it respectable, huh?
Yeah. Well, the good news is once those teams shit the bed, there's no point in actually looking anymore at the teasers because they were all tied into Washington. So thank you very much. We're going to hit this week's teaser, though. I can tell you right now. Why? Because I saw this number when it first came out, and I kind of scratched my head. And I call it maybe, I don't know, the Geno Smith effect. The Seattle Seahawks have played 8 quarters of football. Actually, I'm sorry. There's been 8 quarters of football. Seattle's played in 2 of them. That's it. The rest of the time, they've been absolutely horrific. And the offense ain't going to get any better. However, Atlanta should have 1 win already on the year. They should have beat the Saints there. They didn't give up. They didn't quit last week to get the Rams. They were getting smoked in the first half, and they kept coming. Something I was really happy to see from Arthur Smith and company here. I'm sorry. I think there's just way too many weapons on this team. Cordarrelle Patterson. You've got now Drake London. You've got Kyle Pitts. You also have Seattle's best defensive player in the back out. Jamal Adams. What a shock as a Jet fan, trust me. Not a shock to see Jamal Adams hurt again, but at least he got paid. But I think this is too much here. I think Atlanta is absolutely a team that can go over team totals. I had them last week, Cal. Their team total over 17 against the Rams. I don't think we're giving them enough credit. I get the whole 12th man thing, but I do not trust Geno Smith and this offense at all to go toe-to-toe with Atlanta. So it's 2 or 1.5. If you were able to get it at 1.5 or 2, I took it at 2. It didn't make any sense. I jumped it up to 8 here. So I'm going to use them on one side, and then I'm going to go to the Geriatric Bowl because that's pretty much what we've got between Tampa Bay and Green Bay. And I thought it was interesting after the game on Sunday night there with Aaron Rodgers, he was asked, he's like, well, you got Tom Brady coming up next week. And the first thing came out of his mouth is, yeah, well, we better play better than we played last year. And I think Green Bay will. I think this is a low-scoring game, and I think this is one in which Aaron Rodgers not going to forget the beatdown that Brady and company put on him in Tampa last year. So I think this is going to be a much closer game. I think it's going to be all about the running backs. Low-scoring game. You want to give me, 7.5 points there, 8 points with Green Bay. I'll take it all day. Give me Atlanta and give me Green Bay there, Cal, for my teaser.
Great minds think alike. Joe and Marco, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, is that total high enough, or is Joe just high? And do we have a trap game, or is the deli back open?
Ready to take your favorite WagerTalk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The WagerTalk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like WagerTalk Today, Bet On It, and the Opening Line Report, plus browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for WagerTalk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.
Welcome back to Bet On It. I'm going to go to Marco D'Angelo first because I screwed it up in the college segment, so I think I got it right here. Marco, is the deli back open?
The deli is open, and you know what, Kelly? It's another one of those stinky sandwiches. I know you always complain you don't like to eat those stinky sandwiches, but the Jets got the job done last week, and for this stinky sandwich this week, maybe we should flip the segment and have Joe get us all high first so we get the munchies, and you'll be able to eat this one a little easier because we're taking the Indianapolis Colts. Has there been a team that's looked as bad as they have in the first 2 weeks? They tied Houston in the opener, and then last week got shut out 24-0 at Jacksonville. What am I doing? Well, This is about the spot with Kansas City. Kansas City's coming off a Thursday night game against the team that everybody feels in the AFC West is their main competitor. Well, they beat them. Now they go on the road to play Indianapolis, a team that's 0-1-1 and coming off an ugly loss to Jacksonville. Not only that, look at who Kansas City has on deck. Their old friend, Tom Brady in Tampa Bay next week. I just don't see Kansas City coming into Indianapolis being 100% focused on this team. And if you're Indianapolis, you've hit rock bottom. There's no lower to go. And for Frank Wright, is he coaching for his job this week? A lot of rumblings that this might be the end for him after last year missing the playoffs, losing to Jacksonville, and then losing last week in shutout fashion. I think you get a big effort this week from Indianapolis at home. This line is too high, home underdog in the dome, bad spot for Kansas City. Go ahead, hold your nose, put the glasses on, whatever you need to do to get to the window. We're taking Indianapolis plus the 6.5. And oh yeah, we're calling for the outright win, 27-24 Indianapolis.
I don't know. I'm ready to bet that money line, Marco. And I was sitting around going, come on, let's get us a 7. I know it's coming. And yet here we are still sitting at 6.5. Marco talked about that a little bit during the college segment. If you want to go over and hear what he had to say. And he also said that line was a little too high, Joe. Which line is not high enough?
Well, it's funny, Cal. Mostly A, because I am high, but B, mostly because of the fact that the game I'm looking at today is Washington and Philadelphia. And yeah, I never thought I would say this, but yeah, I'm too high, and this is too high. You got to be kidding me with this line. And I'm glad to see this is really a pros versus Joes kind of total here, because this opened up a little bit higher, about 48 and a half. And it's coming down. And you know the public is going to think, wow, Carson Wentz, yeah, look, we just saw Philadelphia beat up on Minnesota. We saw how many points they were able to put up against Detroit and Washington. And Carson Wentz, they throw the ball all over the place. And no. What I also noticed is that secondary of Philadelphia. Did you guys notice how well Mr. Jefferson did for Minnesota against that secondary of Philadelphia? I like the secondary of Philadelphia. I like Darius Slay Jr. I think they have pieces back there that are going to make life difficult for Carson Wentz, which means I think Washington is going to try to own the trenches and run in this game, and run a lot. We already know Jalen Hurts and company. We know what their game plan is. Own the time of possession, keep the chains moving, and when you're dealing with a team that loves to pass the ball, or that's really the only way you think they can score, much like Kirk Cousins, you put them and make them one-dimensional, good things will happen for that Philadelphia secondary and the defense. So I think this game is going to be much more on the ground, and I think the 48 points that's out there, or even 47 and a half right now, I think that's too much, Cal. The public is going to love the over in this game. Not me. I'm running the other way. I think this is going to be an under between these two division rivals. I think we're going to be somewhere around that, 24-17 kind of matchup here with the Eagles and Washington.
Oh, God, you got to have some guts. I better get high if I'm going to watch that game and just take a nap, because there is no way I want any part of that under. Marco, you're calling for the sprinkle on the Colts, which is kind of who I thought your barking dog was going to be this week. But there's 9 home dogs. Now you got to tell me. You got to go up first.
Well, Kelly, I'm going to look at there's several barking dogs that I could have taken in this one. And I'm taking one where, you know me, I'm a contrarian. And is there any team in the NFL right now that has looked better than the Buffalo Bills after 2 weeks? They absolutely dismantled the Super Bowl champs Rams on that opening Thursday night. They follow that up with another primetime game Monday night. It was a dual Monday night primetime, but they dismantled the Tennessee Titans. now they're on the road playing Miami, and this is one of the games that I hate to bring it up, Kelly, because we were both on the same side. We had Baltimore last week, and Miami was getting drilled. They found a way to win. And you know what? This is a team going back to last season. They're now on a 10-1 straight up run since the end of last season into this season. And they're getting 6 points at home. Buffalo's flying high. And you know what? Are they going to look past Miami? Hell no, because it is a division game. And they know that Miami is the team that has the best shot of contending with them. But this is a big divisional game. This is a Buffalo team that's going to be playing in Miami in September. You can melt in that fourth quarter if you got that heat and humidity down there. I'm taking the home dog here with Miami in Tua. He's got his confidence. This guy is going to get better with each game. He is a dual threat. He can run the football and throw the football. And they've thrown for 461 yards last week against Baltimore. I know it's not the Baltimore defense of old, but it's still not a defense that's that bad. They got confidence after that comeback win last week. I'm going to ride it and call for the upset, Miami, 30-27.
Woo! Joe Raineri likes that one. I don't know if I have the guts. I'm definitely not laying it with the Bills. That Miami team, I got to cheer for Tyreek for my fantasy league. By the way, I'm 2-0, in case you guys wanted to know.
Nice.
Maybe the KIV curse is dead. Doubtful. Now somebody's going to die this weekend.
Oh, I love it.
Get carted off on a stretcher. Whoever it is, I'm sorry in advance. It's just how it works. Johnny Detroit has me cursed for life. Joe, who is your barking dog for week 3 in the NFL?
Well, I got to tell you, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Marco's not the only one that likes to go contrarian. You know, it's usually when everyone's running left, Marco, we run right. And yeah, I'm going to run right back to the team that cashed the ticket for me last week, Arizona. Hosting the Rams, and everybody thinks, right? Oh, no, the Rams, Arizona's terrible. They were so lucky to beat the Raiders, and this, and the Rams are going to be... Yeah, let's all settle down. This game opened up at 4, by the way. I'm already seeing 3.5 showing up, so somebody is betting the Cardinals. I know it ain't the public here. Division rivals. This series has been owned by the Rams of late. But I'm sorry, guys. This is not the Rams of last year. I know everyone thinks they're going to flip a switch and they're all of a sudden going to be steamrolling teams. I'm not buying it. They certainly didn't steamroll the Falcons there. They've got some issues here. And yeah, I like Arizona. I think the way that they won, how they won after being absolutely embarrassed in that first half against the Raiders, to come back the way that they did, I think this is exactly what the Cardinals needed. Not to mention Rondell Moore and company. Everybody who has been hurt to start the season for Arizona, in all likelihood, will be available and back in the lineup here for them, including members of the defense in the secondary. So, yeah, I think this is an opportunity for the Cardinals to get right. I think this is an opportunity for them to get back in. It's a divisional matchup that they have not had a ton of success against there with Sean McVay. But hey, the Super Bowl champs, yeah, I was not impressed with what I saw last week. I think the Cardinals turn around and they keep rolling here. So I'm going to take them as a home dog here, 4 or even 3.5 now. I think anything over a field goal, give me the Cardinals to get it done and keep rolling.
Man, some ugly looking dogs this week. And of course, we're going to be on all of them. We're going to take a quick commercial break. But when we come back, it's time for Prop Shop with Ariel Epstein and Andy Lang.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
We're back here on Bet On It. Now it's time for a prop shop with Andy Lang and Ariel Epstein. Andy, I know that you had mentioned you were looking at some regression. And no, we're not talking about my college football picks. You're talking about wide receivers. What have you figured out as far as week 2 goes for the NFL season?
Well, this is not overreacting to week 1. We talked about some big names that flew over their receptions and their yards total. So in week 1, take a look at some of these big names: Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, and Travis Kelce. All of them cashed their overs easy in week 1. Week 2, if you went back to those guys, you would have gone 2-5. So 1 week does not exactly tell us what is going to happen the very next week. The books know that everyone is looking to play these overs on these big names. So before you jump in without doing a lot of research, don't overreact to the first week. It was a really, really big win for the books on these wide receivers. So if you cashed big in week 1, you gave it all back in week 2. So it's just a little cautionary tale. Don't overreact to 1 week.
Always don't overreact. And I did overreact a little bit on a couple of spots, but got it done okay on Sunday night with the Packers. Ariel Epstein was grinding that one out with me. I'm not going to lie. I went to bed at half. I couldn't have suffered through another collapse like her Ravens did to me on Sunday against the Dolphins. Ariel, you want to talk about a different team, though, that is formerly known as the Washington Redskins football team, and now I'm not sure what they're called.
I'm just gonna not say what our group chat calls them. Anyway, Washington has allowed for the most passing touchdowns in back-to-back seasons. Last week, I was actually too nervous to bet this trend because it was the Lions and Jared Goff, yet Goff had a great game against this Washington defense. The passing touchdowns is where it's at against the Commanders. I've got to look to the quarterback for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts. He has not thrown 2 touchdown passes in a game yet this season. However, last year, had a bunch of games with 2 touchdown passes. He's going to be confident. Just had a massive game last week. I would be okay with betting that over 1.5 total touchdowns, passing touchdowns on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I couldn't imagine wanting to take an under there, not only with Jalen Hurts, but with the Washington Commies. Andy, what are your thoughts on these first quarter totals? You gave us that in the preseason, and now I want to kind of get an update to see where we're at here.
Well, we're picking right up where we left off last year. The last half of the year, these first quarter unders, I discovered how profitable they were, and this was one of my angles I really wanted to attack coming into the season. Off to a great start, 9-5 first quarter unders on official plays. That's a 64.2% win rate. And Kelly, if I can win 64.2% of my NFL plays this season, I will be a happy, happy man. There are 2 teams who are 2-0 to the over in first quarters, but there are 14 teams who are 2-0 to the under on first quarters. These first quarter unders are very overlooked. They're profitable, and it's a league-wide trend. It's definitely going to be part of all of my packs each and every week on WagerTalk.com.
Andy, so for the 2 that went over both weeks, is that 2 teams maybe you're just going to leave off for the following week, or are you going to go back to the well with the unders?
Yeah, I mean, one of them is the aforementioned Commies. Carson Wentz has been able to move the ball, and their defense has been shredded. And those are recipes for overs. And sure enough, they have gone over in both games. So I actually had Washington circled as a team to monitor for first quarter unders. I didn't think their offense would be that good, and I thought their front 7 would be much better. It's not been the case. So I red commie flags all over the place on week 1 when I saw their first quarter go over. So we jumped off of the first quarter under on there, and I'm glad we did. They are one of 2 teams that have cash tickets on their first quarter overs.
I love that.
Rest in peace to the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Sorry, Joe Raineri.
If I get a text from Johnny Detroit, it's just going to be a regular Wednesday, you guys. It's totally fine. I got in trouble yesterday for mushing Adam's $2 Tuesday. I'm like, but the game doesn't go till Friday. And they said, this is not the promo tweet we were looking for, Kelly. But we have a good time at Wager Talk, and that's all that matters. Ariel Epstein, week 3 in the NFL. What else are you looking for? And then give me your best bet for Thursday night.
Thursday night football prop. I'm looking to the Browns running back Kareem Hunt Looking at his receiving yards, he's gone over 16.5 receiving yards in both games that he's played so far this season. He ended up with, or 15.5, excuse me. He had 16 last week, 24 in week 1. I really like that he's getting this Pittsburgh Steelers defense that is without their best defensive player, TJ Watt, for the foreseeable future. Makes the defense worse. The Steelers have been allowing for running backs to not only run all over them, but also to catch the football more. Joe Mixon went over this number. You also saw some of the Patriots running backs. I have all their box scores up so I don't get these numbers wrong. So Samaje Perine, he ended up with 3 catches for 33 yards against Pittsburgh. That's their second string running back compared to Joe Mixon, who had 7 catches for 63 yards against Pittsburgh. As for the Patriots running backs, you had Damian Harris for 2 catches, 16 yards, and then Stevenson, he didn't catch the ball much, but he did have 9 rush attempts for 47 rushing yards. That's why I've been toying a little bit with rushing plus receiving to go over 63.5 for Hunt, or with the over receiving yards at 15.5. Yet my first instinct was to go to receiving yards because that's where the Steelers have really struggled so far this season against running backs.
Ariel, with an offensive play, Andy's going to come in hot with a defensive best bet for Thursday night.
Always coming in hot, Kelly. You know me. We cashed our 5% player prop last week with Nick Chubb, who's going to be playing in this game. I thought I might be coming right back to it, but we're not going to do that. We got a 5% play up at WagerTalk.com for our best prop for this week. Miles Jack over 8.5 total tackles and assists. When I was handicapping this, the number was at 7.5. That has jumped to 8.5 at plus money. And man, do I love 8.5 combined assists and tackles at plus money. He's been a tackling machine. He had 10 total tackles and assists against the Bengals. And then TJ Watt goes out. He jumps up to 13 against New England. They're playing the Browns. Last week against the Browns, the Jets had 4 players with 7 or more tackles and assists. 2 of those were linebackers. The Steelers run that 3-4 defense, which sets up for linebackers to get involved in a lot of tackles, especially with TJ Watt out. 3 of the top 4 leading tacklers on the Steelers are linebackers. Miles Jack leads the team with 23 total tackles and assists. I got to believe they're going to need him to stop Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. He's going to be up near the line of scrimmage as the Browns' passing game is not that much of a threat. Love this number. You're getting a fantastic price at plus money. Take Miles Jack over his total tackles and assists.
All right. Thank you to Ariel at Ariel Epstein on Twitter, Andy Lang at Bump Sports. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, it's time for some best bets.
You're a winner at WagerTalk even before the game is played with our Wager Rewards program. How does it work? Simple. Earn wager rewards on every purchase made at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Those wager rewards can be converted into wager bucks on the first of every month. There is no additional fee to participate, and no additional details are required outside your valid WagerTalk or Sports Memo membership. On the first of each month, 5% of your wager rewards will be converted to wager bucks, which are available to purchase on all future purchases. Doesn't it feel good to be part of a rewards program with no additional hoops?
Welcome back to Bet On It. It is now time for Best Bets. And mine's been on the move just since we started filming this show. That's right, the Green Bay Packers down to 1.5 and even 1 in some spots. Sorry, guys, this one opened 2.5. I bet it on Monday. And why? Because the Bucs just aren't that good for this 2-0 team. They've only scored 2 touchdowns. 2! Tom Brady out there throwing his tablet, throwing a fit is my favorite Tom Brady. Hopefully we see a little bit of that one. On Sunday, you've got the Packers off that nice win over the Bears. And guess what? After playing the Bears, this team, 14-2 against the spread. Where I find these things, I don't know. But that one came from our good friend, Mark Lawrence. Not only do the Packers play well after playing the Bears, they are in a double revenge situation here against this Bucs team. I hate to be a Bucs hater. It's not my goal, but that's where I'm looking in this one. The Packers are just the better team. Matt LaFleur, right, and Aaron Rodgers might be having a little bit of a friendship these days. Maybe they don't hate each other as much as the media likes to tell us. Give me the Packers plus 1.5, but really you should just be betting the money line. Marco D'Angelo, who is your best bet for week 3 in the NFL?
Well, Kelly, last week, again, I've talked a lot about it. I'm getting the mileage out of cashing with the Jets, and it was all about the situation. Well, they don't have the luxury of that situation in their favor this week. In fact, it's the complete opposite. Last week, they caught the Browns in that sandwich spot. This week, they're catching an angry, focused Cincinnati Bengal team. This is a team that nobody would have thought would have been 0-2 to start the season. They lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you saw that game, crazy ending to that game. Everybody missing field goals, extra points. Nobody wanted to win it. And then last week, going into Dallas decimated with injuries, and yet they find a way to lose that game. How often do we say it when there's an injury like that? Too often the team gets caught looking past that team. They feel they caught a break and just had to show up and get a win, and the other team plays 110%. Everybody else rises to the occasion. Now this week, all eyes are going to be on the Jets, and I just do not see the Jets being able to stay offensively with the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow and company should have a field day. After all, look at the first two games that the Jets have had defensively. They gave up 24 points to Baltimore in week 1. Baltimore only ran 51 offensive plays and got 24 points. Then last week, the Browns ran all over them. They had 30 points in that defeat, and they had 37 rushes for 184 yards. They gave up the Jets last week, and another 220 through the air. Cincinnati should absolutely shred them. And what is the Jets doing? Joe Flacco has thrown the football in 2 games 104 times. I'm surprised his arm hasn't fallen off as old as he is. They can't win football games like that, but he's going to have to continue throwing like that because they're falling behind and they have to catch up. This week, they fall behind, but the other team doesn't let up. They keep rolling. Cincinnati wins this one. I've got Cincinnati winning in easy fashion, 27-16. Take the Bengals on Sunday. That's my best bet.
Marco is a brave man. I want nothing to do with that game. Joe Raineri, I'm sure you're going to bet something I want nothing to do with as well.
Oh, you bet your ass I am. This is going to be absolutely disgusting on so many levels, but I am all in on the Houston Texans getting 3, baby, against those, Chicago Bears? Are they even still in the league? Apparently, they are here, but they're not very good. As a matter of fact, neither of these two teams are very good. However, there's levels to this kind of suckness right now, and I got to tell you guys, I'm pretty darn impressed with what I've seen from Lovie Smith. This will be his revenge game after all, right? Gets to go back to Chicago. I don't think Chicago's doing Justin Fields any favors here, guys, whatsoever. Body language says a lot. His body language in that Green Bay game, he's getting more and more frustrated. They don't have any players around him. It's not a good situation for the Bears. And meanwhile, Davis Mills, he's got to get it going, and I think he will because we've seen this from him last year with a team that was very similar to what Justin Fields is going through. They had nobody. They traded away everyone. They had nothing and nobody, and they put Davis Mills in there, and you know what? Kid showed up, and he showed out on a number of occasions. I love the way the defense is playing. I also saw the way Aaron Jones gashed this Chicago Bears defense. And I think Pierce and company, I think the running game of Houston can do the same thing. Lovie Smith will have the defense ready. You give me 2 crap teams like this, I'm going to take the team that's getting the most points. And if you can get 3, get it. 2.5, 3. I think Houston is the way to go. It's disgusting, Cal. It's exactly the way we like it. But give me the Houston Texans to get it done on the road against the Chicago Bears.
I wussed out and put the Texans in a teaser at +2.5. Now they're at 3. I'm not going to lie. And it was only because the Bears are so poor after playing the Packers. They've actually dropped 6 straight in the last 3 seasons.
Yep.
God, what an ugly set of games for you two. And here I am with my CLV trophy on Wednesday afternoon. We all know how that's going to end for me. Speaking of ending, we're going to take our last commercial break. When we come back, it's time for the recap.
Gianni the Greek has never had a losing calendar year at WagerTalk and holds the following all-time records. Number 1 all-time in total profit and boxing. Number 2 all-time in college football, golf, soccer, and WNBA. Number 3 all-time in NFL, MMA, CFL, and tennis. Number 4 all-time in the MLB. And number 6 all-time in NHL. Right now, you can lock in 120 days of plays for the price of $90 for a limited time. Head over to WagerTalk, save yourself close to $400 off the regular price, and bet alongside Gianni for only $6.24 per day.
As always, we appreciate all of you guys tuning in, even you jerks that scroll to the end just to see this graphic. Pittsburgh at Cleveland Thursday night. Joe says give him the under. It's low for a reason. Marco says he's betting against his Pittsburgh Steelers and laying the 4.5 with Cleveland. Whew, this one's tough. Marco also says he likes Denver plus 1.5. I may wuss out, put him in a teaser because those have been going so well for me. But Joe said don't even consider it because over 45 is the way to go. The boys teasers, that's right. Atlanta plus 8 and Green Bay plus 7.5. And that Green Bay teaser will not be available for long. So make sure you guys get on that. Marco's going a little non-traditional and just saying the Chargers just need to win the game. And I'll take that because I have them in Survivor. But he also likes Dallas on Sunday night plus 8.5. Are you high? Well, apparently it was because Joe says he's taking the under in the Philadelphia and Washington game, and the deli's back open with a disgusting sandwich that I tweeted out on Monday night. I couldn't wait to bet plus 7. I don't know if it's going to get there. Marco says take the Colts plus 6.5 and sprinkle on that money line. I'm also sprinkling on this money line. Woo. Arizona plus 3.5 is going to be an ugly one, Joe Raineri. And Marco says that the Dolphins' fourth quarter comeback last week was not a fluke. But maybe the Bills looking that good on Monday night might be a little overvalued here. Take Miami plus 6. Best bets, as I mentioned, Green Bay's been on the move. I've already got a nice little CLV trophy if that game lands 2. Hopefully Green Bay just wins the game outright for us. Marco's laying it with Cincinnati on the road against those Jets. Come on, Marco. They did so well for you last week. Yeah. And Joe says, yeah, that's right. He's betting against the Bears. Who the hell are the Bears to be a favorite? As always, we appreciate you guys. You got us over that 100,000 mark, but always jump in those comments. Hit that subscribe button from Joe, Marco, Ralph, Ariel, Andy, and myself. Good luck until next Monday. Let's bet on it.